Can you move a little? You're blocking Olivia in the picture. My aunt's bracelet tapped my shoulder as she nudged me out of frame. All smiles for the camera. My sister giggled, tilting her head just right, the flash catching the sparkle of her new ring. There we go, my uncle said. Perfect. Our golden girl. I stepped back until the edge of the living room rug caught my heel. Same house, same people, same routine, family gathering, all eyes on Olivia and me as background furniture. Hey, Maya, my cousin Lauren said, sidling up next to me with a paper plate. You're still, what is it you do again? Something with media? I'm a live event producer, I said calmly. We plan and broadcast big shows and specials. She nodded like she was humoring a kid. Right.
Cute.
Anyway, look at Liv. She just lights up a room. Across the room, Mom clapped her hands. Everyone, come in here. We're doing a little toast for Olivia and Ryan. I'd come straight from the airport, hair still smelling like dry cabin air, suitcase abandoned in my trunk because Mom had begged me to make it to this family thing. I roll my shoulders, trying to let the tension drain out. Dad lifted his glass. To my youngest, who's always been so loved by everyone. You've got that magic, kiddo. People just gravitate to you. Glasses clinked. Olivia did a modest little shrug, her red dress hugging her like it had been custom-made. Maybe it had. I wouldn't know. Nobody asked what I was wearing. I clapped because not clapping would have started a whole conversation. Then I heard it. A low mutter behind me, just loud enough. She's the favorite. Poor Maya just never had that. She's not loved like Olivia is. She should just accept it. The words were soft, but they hit like they were shouted. I turned my head slightly. Two of my older relatives were standing near the hallway, thinking I couldn't hear them. One shook her head pityingly, like I was some tragic character in a drama. My throat tightened, but my face stayed neutral. Years of practice. Accept it. I'd swallowed a lot in this family. The forgotten graduations. The, "Oh, I didn't know you got that job" comments when I'd been talking about it for months. The way every conversation eventually spun back to how pretty, how lovable, how special Olivia was. Mom's voice cut through my thoughts. Maya, honey, can you grab more ice from the garage freezer? Of course. Yeah, I said quietly. Sure. I slipped out through the kitchen, away from the chatter and the soft piano playlist. The garage was cold and smelled like gasoline and old cardboard. I opened the deep freezer, grabbed the bag of ice, and let the lid fall shut. Then I set the ice on top, leaned my palms on the cold metal, and just stood there. Not loved like she is. Like my worth was a math problem they'd already solved. I took a slow breath. In through my nose, out through my mouth. My mind didn't replay their words this time. Instead, it flashed to something else. The blinking cursor on an email I hadn't answered yet. The one from earlier that day. Subject: Venice Live feature. Are you in? My stomach flipped. Before I'd gotten on my flight back home, I'd been in a small, sleek office in New York, sitting across from two executives at a global streaming platform. Their pitch had been crazy and brilliant all at once. Imagine, one of them had said, leaning forward, a cinematic wedding event, shot live in one of the most beautiful cities on Earth. Not a show with actors. A real couple, real story, symphonic music, drones over the canals, yellow-tinted romance, but real emotion. You produce it. You lead it. We broadcast it globally. At the time, I'd laughed it off. Finding the right couple alone could take a year. He'd smiled. Sometimes the right story is closer than you think. I pressed my tongue to the back of my teeth now, feeling that sentence vibrate inside my skull. Closer than you think. I pulled my phone out of my pocket, the freezer humming underneath my hands. Notifications filled the screen, group chats, calendar reminders, Olivia's engagement party invite with a glittery heart. I scrolled down to the email from the streaming team. We're serious, Maya. Venice in 9 months if we move fast. We'll handle the back end. You handle creative, logistics, and on-site execution. We want something the world hasn't seen before. 9 months. I pictured water taxis skimming along glowing canals, lanterns reflecting in the water, a string section tuning under vaulted stone ceilings. Not just another ballroom party, with canned speeches and boring playlists. A real symphony. A real city. A real story. And in a strange, sharp moment, it hit me. Why was I always planning everyone else's spotlight and never stepping into one myself? I pushed off the freezer, heart pounding now for a different reason. You're not as loved as she is. Maybe not. Not here. Not in this cramped house with its faded photos and rigid ideas of who I was supposed to be. But the world was bigger than these four walls. Bigger than this family. I grabbed the ice and walked back into the kitchen. Before I pushed the door into the living room, I paused and opened a different conversation on my phone. Eli, sound designer, composer, the guy who made every project feel less like work and more like creation. The one who heard my ideas and said, "We can go bigger." Me. If I told you I might know the perfect story for Venice and the bride isn't cast yet, what would you say? The typing bubble popped up almost instantly. Eli, I'd say, finally. Stop hiding and claim what you built. Also, can I write the music? A small smile tugged at my lips. Me. You might have to. They're talking full symphony. Global stream. Want in? Eli. I'm already in. I've been in since the first time you stayed in the control room until sunrise just to get the strings perfect. Warmth spread through my chest, pushing out the cold. Hey, you good? Olivia's voice broke my focus. I looked up. She was leaning in the kitchen doorway, perfect hair, perfect makeup, holding a champagne flute and a soft, almost guilty smile. You disappeared, she said. Mom's freaking out about the ice. I'm fine, I said. And for the first time in a long time, it felt partly true. Just needed a second. She stepped closer. You know they don't mean anything by it, right? All that comparisons. I studied her carefully. For years, I'd envied her for soaking up all that light without even trying. Right now, though, she just looked tired. Maybe they don't mean harm, I said slowly. But that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. She bit her lip. I'm sorry, May. I nodded, grabbed the ice, and brushed past her. I didn't feel like unpacking decades of hurt next to the fridge while potato salad congealed on the counter. As I walked back into the living room, something in me clicked into place. I couldn't control how my relatives measured affection, but I could control what I did with my life, my talent, my future. If they wanted to act like I was a footnote, fine. I'd write a whole new chapter somewhere else. Somewhere like Venice, with cameras rolling, violins soaring, and the entire world watching as the girl they dismissed walked down an aisle they never saw coming. The next morning, I woke up with a feeling I almost didn't recognize: momentum. I made coffee, opened my laptop, and typed a single sentence into the Venice proposal draft. Primary couple, Maya Quinn and partner. Seeing my own name in that spot sent a shiver down my spine. It felt reckless, bold, completely insane, and yet right. Before doubt could creep in, my phone buzzed. Eli, morning. Still in for Venice? Or did fear win overnight? Me, still in. But I need you on board. Full commitment. No halfway. His typing bubble appeared immediately. Eli, Maya, I've waited years to see you step into the spotlight you built for everyone else. Tell me when and where, and I'll be there, score ready. I exhaled a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. By noon, I had a meeting scheduled with the streaming executives. By 2, we were discussing venues on call, palazzos overlooking canals, historic halls, rooftop spaces with panoramic views. Your story, one of them said, has to feel intimate, authentic. The world should watch and understand why this moment belongs to you. Authentic. Right. If only my relatives knew what authenticity looked like outside their small circle of comparisons. Later that day, a family group chat pinged my phone. Family chat now. Mom, dinner at 6 tonight? Olivia wants to show everyone her final venue choice. Of course she did. I stared at the message, not angry anymore, just detached. Like their version of life was playing in a small box, and mine was suddenly widescreen. Me. I can't. I have production meetings tonight. Big project brewing. 3 dots appeared. disappeared, reappeared. Mom, sweetie, don't isolate yourself. You know Liv values your support. Support. As in, stand behind her, smile politely, don't overshadow. I put my phone down without replying. By late afternoon, the Venice project had grown from a spark to something real. Dates proposed, musicians shortlisted, concept art underway. I walked out of my apartment to clear my head and ended up on the waterfront, the evening air crisp against my skin. Eli called. Okay, he said without greeting. Tell me your vision. I closed my eyes and let the words spill. A ceremony at sunset. Strings echoing across the water. A gown that moves like light. A moment where everything, the years of being overlooked, the doubt, the quiet, breaks open into something beautiful. He didn't speak for a moment. Then, Maya, that's not just a show. That's your turning point. I swallowed a lump in my throat. I think it is. And you're sure you want to be the bride? He asked gently. I hesitated, but only for a second. Yes, I whispered. This time, the story is mine. He let out a breathy laugh. Then let's make the world watch. As the sun dipped behind the horizon, I realized something I'd never felt so clearly. This wasn't revenge fueled by spite. It was revenge fueled by self-worth. And soon my relatives, those same people who told me to accept being unloved, would turn on their screens and see a wedding in Venice that would make their jaws drop. A week later, the Venice project wasn't just in motion, it was exploding forward. Contracts were being drafted, venue scouts were sending me videos from gondolas, and the orchestra director wanted to schedule a virtual rehearsal. But the real shock came when my phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. Miss Quinn, a warm Italian voice said. This is Lorenzo, coordinator for Palazzo Sant'Emerald. We received your concept. If you wish, we can reserve the rooftop terrace for your ceremony. Sunset views. Direct canal access. It is unforgettable. Unforgettable. My heart fluttered. Please hold the date, I said. This is happening. After hanging up, I paced my apartment, adrenaline buzzing under my skin. This wasn't some fantasy anymore. It was becoming the biggest event I had ever produced. Except this time, I was the lead story. I texted Eli. We have a venue. Venice is real. He replied instantly. And so are you. I'll finish the first symphony draft tonight. You should hear what I have for your entrance that might make you cry. A warmth spread through me. No one had ever created something for me before. Not like this. Not with intention. But the universe rarely lets growth happen quietly. At 7:12 p.m., my phone buzzed again. Mom. Where are you? Everyone's here waiting. Olivia wants to announce her wedding date. I stared at the message. A week ago, guilt would have kicked in. I would have rushed over with an apology and a smile. But tonight, I didn't. Me. I'm working. Big deadlines. I won't make it. 1 minute later, Mom called. I let it ring. Then another call came, this time from my uncle. Declined. Another, my aunt. Declined. Finally, Olivia texted. Everything okay? I hesitated, then typed honestly. I'm producing something big. Something for myself. I'll explain when it's finished. 3 dots appeared, but no reply came. I set my phone face down and opened my laptop instead. If they couldn't see beyond their narrow expectations, that was no longer my problem. By midnight, Eli and I were on a video call, reviewing set design ideas. He was sitting at his keyboard, headset crooked, hair a mess, completely in his creative zone. Okay, he said, picture this. The strings swell softly as you step onto the stone terrace. Lanterns flicker. The water reflects the lights. Then, boom, the full orchestra rises when you reach the aisle. I felt goosebumps spread down my arms. Eli, it's perfect. He grinned. No. You are. This whole thing? It's the world finally seeing what I've seen in you since day one. I tucked a strand of hair behind my ear, suddenly shy. Why are you saying things like that? Because they're true, he said simply. The call ended, but the warmth in his voice lingered. I looked at the Venice mood board glowing on my screen. Sunsets, marble corridors, flowing gowns, symphony sheets, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years. I wasn't waiting to be chosen anymore. I was choosing me. And soon, all those relatives who dismissed me would watch the broadcast and whisper, "Is that really her?" The official approval email arrived on a Thursday afternoon. Subject: Venice Wedding Special, greenlit. Global airing confirmed. I reread it 3 times, hand over my mouth, heart fluttering fast and uneven. This was it. My project. My story. My moment. And the world was going to see it. I forwarded the email to Eli with one line. "Pack your bags. We're going to Venice." His reply came seconds later. "Already tuning the violins. Also, can I talk to you tonight? Something important." I didn't have time to wonder what he meant, because my family group chat started blowing up again. Family chat now. Mom. Olivia booked her venue. We're celebrating tonight at Grandpa's. Aunt Marie. Will Maya be joining us, or is she still busy? Jenna. LOL, she's probably reorganizing files or something. That last one hit a nerve, but also made me smile a little. If only they knew. Instead of replying, I sent one simple message. I actually have an announcement soon. Please keep your evening free this Saturday. It's important. No further explanation. Let them wonder. That Saturday, I joined a video meeting with the network's marketing team. They were finalizing the broadcast teaser, short, dramatic, breathtaking. "Your reveal," one producer said, "is going to break the internet." She clicked play. A slow aerial shot over Venice at golden hour. The symphony warming up. Lanterns reflecting in the canal. And then, a silhouette in a flowing white gown stepping onto a terrace. Not my face yet. Just the outline. The mystery. A line appeared on screen. A love story the world didn't see coming. I felt my throat tighten. It wasn't just a wedding special. It was the first time I allowed myself to be seen. When the teaser ended, I whispered, "It's beautiful." "It's you," the woman said. "The world's about to meet you." That evening, I finally made my way to my family's gathering. The moment I walked in, chatter dipped. Eyes shifted. Questions brewed. Mom approached first. "Honey, you look different. Glowing. What's going on?" I smiled. A real smile. "You'll see in a minute." Olivia appeared beside her, cautious but curious. "Is this about that project you mentioned?" "Yes," I said. "And I'd like everyone to sit. I have something to show you." Phones clicked on. Chairs scraped. Conversations hushed. I connected my phone to the TV. The Venice teaser played. Silence hit the room like a wave. The canals. The symphony. The terrace. The title card. Aunt Marie gasped. My uncle sat forward, blinking rapidly. Mom covered her mouth. Olivia's eyes widened. "Maya, is that you?" I paused the video on the frame of the bride's silhouette. "Yes," I said softly. "I'm the bride, and I produced the entire event. It airs next month globally." A beat. Then another. Then, "Is that really her?" someone whispered from the back. Exactly the reaction I expected. Warmth spread through my chest, not triumph over them, but pride in myself. Mom walked toward me slowly, tears in her eyes. "Sweetheart, why didn't you tell us?" "I needed to believe it first," I said gently. "And I needed to choose myself, even if no one else did." Olivia stepped forward and hugged me tight. "I'm proud of you. Really proud." For once, I believed she meant it. My phone buzzed in my hand, a message from Eli. "When you come home tonight, I need to ask you something." And yes, it's exactly what you think. My smile grew. My story wasn't just beginning. It was unfolding, beautifully, loudly, unapologetically. And this time, I was the one in the spotlight.